Hello and welcome to Look East.
Coming up in the programme tonight, tragedy of the racehorse owner and the missing million stolen to fund her hobby.
A quick fix in Germany for the pensioner facing a long wait for treatment on the NHS.
Another blow for the region's workforce with hundreds more jobs under threat.
And we go back in time to preview an extraordinary farmyard auction.
Hello, first tonight, the couple who took their own lives after being accused of stealing more than £1 million.
Anne and Henry Yearley killed themselves by jumping into the path of a high-speed train at Arlesey in Bedfordshire. Today it emerged that the racehorse owner and her husband had been facing trial for embezzlement.
This is the world that Anne Yearley loved. Horse racing was her passion. Every Sunday she and her husband Henry came here to Newmarket to see their beloved horses. Mrs Yearley had her winners, here proudly leading Turfel, victor in a £30,000 handicap at York last year. The racing fraternity here in Newmarket presumed the Yearleys had cash, and plenty of it. But they were wrong. Henry Yearley's annual salary was £50,000. It didn't begin to pay the bills. Mr Yearley, an accountant, worked at this motor dealership in Stevenage. He'd spent 19 years with the company, finally losing his job after a police investigation revealed he'd stolen more than £1 million.
It's been very difficult since just before Christmas. There's been an ongoing police investigation that we've all been involved in very extensively, but I don't think anyone believed that it would possibly end up in this sort of accident.
What have you that much for you, do you think? Eh?
Newmarket trainer Michael Bell knew the Yearleys well. He trained more than a dozen of their horses, including Turfel. 2-year-old Carita is one of them. Soon she, like all the rest, will be sold. Anne Yearley ran her business on sentimental rather than commercial grounds, keeping unsuccessful horses at huge expense rather than selling them on.
It's just a tragic circumstances, but I say all fed by Anne's sort of love of horses. I mean, she didn't have children, and I think these were her substitute. And it's a really sad story because it was not done for their gain, it was done for the love of horses, and none of the money went on. I mean, she wasn't sort of flashily dressed, they didn't go on big holidays, they lived in a relatively small house. And as I say, all the money went on feeding their bloodstock.
The Yearleys lived quietly at this house in the Bedfordshire village of Shillington. Police confirmed he'd been charged with theft and false accounting, she with theft and money laundering. With an impending trial and their horse racing dreams in ruins, they drove to nearby Arlesey station, walked together to the end of the platform and leapt in front of a passing express. Kim Riley, BBC Look East.
There's been another huge blow to the region's workforce today, with news that hundreds more jobs are under threat. Staff at the Virgin travel store in Galston are in talks with their employers after it was announced that the site is to close with the loss of 200 jobs. Virgin says the company, which was formerly Worldwide Travel, has been hit by competition from internet bookings and low-cost carriers. And the government has announced a big shake-up in the pension and benefits service, affecting hundreds of workers in the region. Richard Edwards from the Public and Commercial Services Union is at Baltic House, the regional headquarters in Norwich. Mr. Edwards, how many jobs do you think are going to be affected there?
We think hundreds, Susie. This announcement was only released to the staff this morning just before it became public. And it's a bitter blow. This office behind me is part of the pension centre here in Norwich that serves the east of England, the 6 counties that make up the east of England. There's about 600 staff that work across the 2 sites. This office is going to transfer internally in the department. We're not sure exactly how many jobs will be affected. That's part of the problem, not the full story has emerged today. And we think that whilst jobs here may be secured for some, it will be at cost of others throughout the region. And that's a great worry to those communities.
And as well as the jobs, what effect can it have on services?
Well, that's also our concern, because all of this is being driven by the Treasury demand to cut 30,000 jobs out of our department over the next 3 years. And it's built on technology we're promised and been promised for 2 years that's yet to emerge. And your viewing public will only too well be aware of the experience of public service technology projects and how bad they have been. That's certainly been our experience inside this department. And so we have great fears that what will be left is an inefficient service and the public will get a disservice as a result.
Richard Edwards, thank you very much for talking to us.
Now, do you remember Geoffrey Horn and his wait for a hernia operation? Geoffrey, who's 82 and from Suffolk, faced a 9-month wait on the NHS. To go private here would have cost £2,000. Instead, he headed to Germany for treatment at half the price. Richard Daniel went too.
I haven't got many years left, but I intend to enjoy them, and I'm certainly not ready to go yet.
6 in the morning and Geoffrey Horn checks in at Stansted. Destination, Berlin.
Good morning. Good morning. And to have to make this flight in the first place is a little bit sort of frustrating. But there again, I've got to do it because I'm not prepared to wait for almost a year.
Nor are thousands of people now heading abroad for private surgery.
Well, I'm getting a little more apprehensive now. I mean, the nearer I get to Berlin and to the hospital.
In Berlin, there are plenty of surgeons, plenty of hospitals. In the next fortnight alone, 4 English patients will check in here.
Now breathe in and breathe out, out.
I think it would be better if you could do the operation in England. And I think it's no problem to do it because there are enough hospitals and we would like to come with the whole team and do the operation there.
Everything okay? Everything fine? Okay.
After an array of medical tests, Geoffrey Horn is put under general anaesthetic. Work to repair the hernia that's causing him so much pain and discomfort gets underway. Day surgery for small procedures like this is commonplace in Germany. After half an hour, surgery is over. It's time to wake up.
Mr. Horn? Hello.
It's a little bit crazy. You see, in Germany, I can give such patients a date for an operation within 4 weeks. And I think there's no necessary to wait 9 months or 1 year.
Just 2 hours after walking into the hospital, Geoffrey Horn is in his own recovery room with no regrets.
There's no pain. It's wonderful. But then, of course, the whole thing was wonderful, wasn't it? The speed and the information and speed. Great stuff.
Geoffrey Horn. Well, earlier we caught up with the Health Secretary John Reid, who is in the region today. We asked him if it was right that people were being forced to travel abroad for medical treatment.
You can now get your operations within a maximum of 9 months, but I want to reduce that to weeks as opposed to the years you used to wait. Nobody should be placed in a position where they're forced to go private. If people elect to go private, that's one thing, but nobody should be forced to go private here or abroad.
Health Secretary John Reid. Plenty more to come on the programme. Amelia goes back to school, Alex goes bargain hunting, and Ian's been riding.
Yes, if you don't know your canter pirouette from your extended trot, then stay tuned. In a moment, we'll meet the British Paralympic dressage champions after more news where you live.
Police are appealing for help in tracing the parents of a little girl who was found wandering along Coronel Green in Galston this evening. The toddler, who's thought to be about 4 years old, has blonde hair and was wearing a grey school-type skirt and white top. Hundreds of people have contacted the police with information after last week's violence in Thetford. There were 15 arrests after the England-Portugal football match when the town's Portuguese pub was attacked. A mobile police station's been set up in the town. A big crackdown was launched today on car tax dodgers in Norfolk and Suffolk. It's urging the public to shop offenders by phone. If a car is found without a tax disc, it'll be clamped, towed away and crushed. There are currently 60,000 untaxed cars in the 2 counties.
We estimate most of these cars are driving around without insurance, without MOT, by people who aren't prepared to put the names to the record. These people are involved in criminality, hence we've got the cooperation on the police on this. I think it's vital that these vehicles either come on board with the system or they're taken off the road. One of the region's major roads has been given a maximum speed limit of 50 miles an hour.
The limit has been imposed on the Suffolk section of the A140 as a one-year trial to try to cut the number of accidents.
Driving the 15 miles between Ipswich and the Norfolk border might be slightly slower for the next year, but highway managers think it will be safer. The top speed is 50. Around villages it goes down to 40 and then 30 miles an hour.
The whole aim of the scheme is to reduce the number of accidents on the A140, and obviously if there's no accidents or there's a reduction, the journey time for people will be reduced as well.
On average, there are 31 injury accidents a year on this stretch of the A140, but a higher than average number of rear-end shunts. This week, flashing signs will go up telling drivers they're too close or going too fast. Ian Balmer, BBC Look East, Suffolk.
A campaign against drunken violence has been launched in Suffolk to try to reassure the public that it's safe to go out. Police have released CCTV footage of the behaviour they want to stop. The force says drink-related crime creates too much fear in the community. A Look East report into the way sham marriages are cheating the immigration system has been shown today at the United Nations in Geneva. The UN conference is looking into modern forms of slavery. Our Home Affairs correspondent Sally Chidzoy has also presented her exposé of illegal Chinese workers in the region.
The barricades have gone up at a number of caravan parks in North Norfolk. It's because the owners fear travellers might move in. One group has already moved off a park in West Runton, but with the peak season approaching, worries are growing.
With beautiful views of the Norfolk coast, thousands of people flock here every summer, so it's not surprising the travelling community want to follow. 7 caravans broke into this car park just a week ago.
We had them on the land for about 12 hours, and because we'd split them up, they only stayed overnight. Otherwise they'd have been there for a week, 10 days, the time it takes for a court order to get them off.
The problem the authorities have is the travellers are on private land.
They can expect the District Council and the police to do an initial visit to discuss the way forward and the options available. They'd offer advice and then they'd involve any other agencies that they felt applicable to bring about a resolution.
In the meantime, caravan park owners are taking their own action. Fred Askew stayed up every night last week watching his entrance gates. He says antisocial behaviour is the biggest problem.
In any society there's freedoms, but there's also an amount of conformity that has to be undertaken by everyone to allow each and everyone to enjoy their lives. And with what has been shown over the last week or so, in this area particularly, that's not been the case for a lot of people.
The group of travellers may have left the area, but traders say they'll continue to take action to stop them or any others coming back. Louise Holmes, BBC Look East, West Runton.
A letter from Lord Nelson has fetched more than £7,000 at auction. 10 years before Trafalgar, the naval hero from Norfolk wrote offering to resign from the Navy. The rare letter was written using his right hand. 2 years later, he lost his arm in battle. Christchurch Park in Ipswich is to get a £3 million facelift. The money's been awarded from the Heritage Lottery Fund. It'll be used to renovate historic features of the park. They include its fountains and ponds. New lavatories and refreshment kiosks are also planned. The park was bought for the people of Ipswich in the 19th century.
It's been a feature of the village for 34 years, but now it's under threat. Squirrel's toddler and playgroup in Impington near Cambridge is facing closure because it's lost its meeting place. Parents fear it's the end of an era.
Playtime for these children will soon be coming to an end. Despite a long search for new premises, no new building has been found.
I think it's a great shame after all the years of effort that have been put in by everyone to create a great facility for the community and for the kids that in one fell swoop it's going to close.
I'm very, very disappointed. It's been a lovely playgroup. It's such a shame after so many years in the village.
The playgroup is part of Impington Village College, but now they want their building back.
Well, we're going to use the space for a learning centre for our sixth form, and that's because we're expanding our sixth form, which is one of a raft of measures to address the serious underfunding of the college.
The playgroup is one of 3 in the local area, but the other 2 preschool centres are already full.
There is nowhere else for us to go. We've looked within the village. We're a very popular playgroup. We have about 24, 25 children ready to start next year, These children are going to have to go without a playgroup position at the moment, and the parents are extremely angry about it.
Managers at the Squirrel say they have been offered a piece of land, but to make use of this they need to find a porter cabin. But with no prospect of finding one, these toys will be packed away for the last time next Thursday. Stuart Trackliffe, BBC Look East, Impington.
You're watching Look East from the BBC. Coming up, the farmer hosting the sale of the century.
Looking forward to that one. Now, it's over 80 years old, represents 5 million students across the UK and gives those studying at university a voice. We're talking about the National Union of Students.
But what about pupils at secondary school? Now, a teenager from Essex has decided that they too need to stand up and be counted.
Rajiv Day has come up with an idea. It's getting quite a bit of attention. And £5,000 from the Millennium Commission. This teenager has set himself the task of starting a students' union for 11 to 18-year-olds.
I think there's an impression that if students are given a voice, that all they'll ask for is longer holidays and no homework, and they don't have proper issues to address.
But that's not the case. Raj wants to get pupils talking about curriculum changes, random drug testing, and the controversial subject of school uniform. Take the ban on skirts, which happened at an Ipswich school recently, or the argument over religious clothing that took place in Luton. These are issues where a secondary school union could get involved.
If the students believe that they're not being heard and all other ways are explored and they're not listened to, then perhaps it might be the case that we need to strike.
Of course, the National Union of Students has never shied away from direct action. In the 1970s, the University of Essex was the backdrop as police clashed with protesting students. Things are much quieter here today, but those involved in the student union here still believe it plays a vital role in everyday university life.
Students always need to be represented. They're not always, especially such young students, their views aren't always listened to as well, so having something to back them up would definitely be a good thing.
Raj already has a website, a national conference is planned for the autumn, and he's confident of support from the UK Youth Parliament. But first things first, some last-minute revision for that final A-level geography paper. Amelia Reynolds, BBC Look East.
Oh, poor thing. I don't envy him. Now, 4 years ago, they won gold medals in Sydney. They're also the reigning world champions.
Tomorrow, the British Paralympic dressage team will be giving a special performance at the Royal Norfolk Show. Ian Winter has been to meet them.
Lee Pearson, MBE, is very talented and very ambitious. He's had 15 major operations and he's used a wheelchair most of his life. He started riding when he was 9.
The reason I started horse riding, I couldn't pedal a BMX, so the horse was the next best thing when you lived in the countryside and everyone was leaving you behind.
Hazel, could you, when I get my leg up, would you switch my right leg over the back of the saddle, please?
When Anne Dunham was 28, doctors told her she had multiple sclerosis. Her riding career seemed to be over. Now, more than 20 years later, Anne competes against the best in the world.
Open doors that probably would never have opened for me, which is absolutely great. Maybe one major door shut, but a hell of a lot of other doors, very exciting doors opened.
Anne and Lee are key members of the British Paralympic dressage squad, and Jane Goldsmith is their coach.
I always say to people, if you don't understand dressage, if it looks easy, it's good.
In September, they're hot favourites to win more gold medals at the Paralympics in Athens. Before then, they're performing at the Royal Norfolk Show, a quadrille to music, and this is their final dressage rehearsal.
I'd like them to be impressed that these guys can perform on the same level as their able-bodied peers, that if we're fortunate enough to have some people who maybe have relatives or kids who are disabled, that they think, wow, maybe I could do that.
The horses are all always revved up and a bit more excited at displays like that, so they'll see 4 riders doing quite advanced dressage movements paired up together, which is more difficult than doing a display on your own, and hopefully it'll be quite exciting and quite interesting.
The squad is funded by lottery money because dressage is an expensive sport. None of the British team members like Michelle Crunkhorn are wealthy individuals. But there are some things, like the thrill of winning gold at the Paralympics, that money can't buy. Ian Winter, BBC Look East, Norfolk.
Beautiful horses.
Marvellous.
Great watching
Great
dressage,
skill.
isn't it? Yeah, wonderful. What's the weather got in store for us? More rain, I bet.
Well, it's not looking too bad. And actually, we did get some sunshine this morning for most of us, but then cloud did tend to increase in many places. And if I show you the latest satellite picture, we are buried beneath that little lot. This was the picture at 6 o'clock this evening. You can just see some breaks along the Essex coast. That's probably where they're enjoying a bit more in the way of brightness. But generally a cloudy end to the day, and I think we're going to keep a lot of cloud overnight. The best chance of any clear spells down in the south. Further north here, if anything, we'll probably see the cloud thickening up, and we may even see some spots of rain and some drizzle, but it probably won't amount to very much. Now, temperatures around 11 or 12 Celsius, so not a cold night. That takes us down into the low 50s Fahrenheit. And the winds, well, are mainly light southwesterly. So tomorrow morning, probably the best chance of any brightness and sunshine in the south and also the southeast. In the north, we'll probably hold on to some of that overnight cloud and drizzle. And then from the west, we're going to see a cold front moving in, bringing some thicker cloud and also some spots of rain or drizzle. But I do think the rain shouldn't amount to very much at all. Now, in the afternoon, I think that weak cold front trundling eastwards, taking the thicker cloud and the spots of rain further east. So the best chance of any brightness and sunshine in the afternoon, probably in the west. But even once that main band of cloud and that rain moves away to the east, I think we've still got the risk of a shower just about anywhere. So generally not a bad day, but always a lot of cloud around and the risk of an odd spot of rain or a shower. But as I keep saying, I don't think it's going to amount to very much at all. Most of it should be on the light side, and there will probably be many of us who stay dry. Now, temperatures are a bit disappointing, really. Today we got up to about 22 Celsius, that's 72 Fahrenheit. A little bit above normal. Tomorrow will be a little bit below in many places, 18 or 19 Celsius. That's the mid-60s Fahrenheit. And we'll see the winds picking up a little bit tomorrow to a mainly moderate southwesterly. So that's Wednesday. A lot of Thursday should be fine and dry. The black cloud represents an odd isolated shower, and I think on Thursday the better chance of seeing some sunny spells. Friday and Saturday, those showers more widespread, but hopefully some sunshine too. And that goes for Sunday as well. A scattering of showers, some sunshine, but on Sunday we could see some of those showers on the heavy side. That's the forecast. Susie.
That one black cloud and raindrop tomorrow was right over where I live.
Sorry, I shunted it.
Could you just sort it, please?
Always happens. Now, the Townley family have lived in and around the same village for 500 years, but in just 2 days, generations of family possessions will be auctioned off, from their vintage car to the pet rabbits.
John Townley is calling it a day and handing the farming business on to his son. Alex Dunlop has been to the family home near Daventry for a sneak preview.
Here's a coincidence. Henry VIII and John VIII, both in the same room. But John has just 7 days to enjoy his pianola until it, along with almost 2,000 other personal treasures, are auctioned off.
There's something for everybody here, and I do know the history of most things, of course, but I don't want to sit and look at that for the rest of my life, and there's so many of them, you know.
Absolutely everything is up for sale, from a wartime gas mask to a policeman's whistle to a large Belgian rabbit?
Yes, a rabbit. Well, as I always say, everything's for sale, Alex, so it's definitely, they got to go. If they're here, they got to go.
John's prized Austin 10 should fetch £5,000, but who could put a price on his old ploughs, his farm wagons, or even this 1940s straw binder?
And if you've got a blockage in the field, you can wind it with the handle. See? From my old grandfather's time through to my father and myself, we just not sold anything. We just kept it all.
You're a hoarder.
Yes. Although they've been neglected.
You want someone to love them?
I do. That's what I want.
When did you last use this threshing drum to do the harvesting? The family will carry on farming the land, but this old curiosity auction will mark the end of an era.
It's probably the most unusual sale for the big variety that we've got. There's something for everybody, from £1 up to 6,000 probably.
And this is a favourite of mine, a World War II field telephone. Now, tell me, John, everything here seems to work.
Yes, it does. I'm really pleased about that because I don't think we've got anything really in this room or anywhere else that doesn't work.
I tell you, it's amazing. I can hear as clear as a bell.
Yeah, do you know, Alex, it's just as if we're in the same room.
Nothing can keep this family down, and after next week's sale, John Townley will probably start hoarding all over again. Alex Dunlop, BBC Look East, Wilton.
What fun. That's amazing stuff there, isn't it?
Fantastic character, John, as well, wasn't it? And I have to say, I think Alex was a very happy boy with his toys.
Yeah, he was enjoying that, wasn't he? And I think he liked the rabbit too. Can I just say sorry to viewers watching Look East on a digital service in the west of the region. Technical problems affected the programme this evening. Our engineers are working hard to sort those problems out as soon as possible. But from all of us here tonight, have a good evening.
Bye-bye.